Squealer's name is an obvious hint about his role on the farm. To squeal is an unpleasant, shrill noise made by pigs. He is a communicator, the spokesperson for the pigs. But it's also a slang term for betrayal, representing the trickery that Squealer uses in his support of Napoleon's campaign. He is one of Napoleon's main tools in his rise to power. Firstly, he shares Napoleon's plans and successes, convincing the animals that life under Napoleon is better. However, as the novella continues, he increasingly enforces Napoleon's wishes, as we see him walking around with dogs and making subtle threats. But most importantly, he manipulates vocabulary to confuse the other animals. Orwell's main aim is to use Squealer to show how politicians use language to control people. This is also something that he included in 1984 called doublespeak. Squealer is said to represent Molotov, Stalin's prime minister and a key supporter of Stalin. However, he's also said to represent propaganda, which was shared through the communist Russian paper, the Pravda. Ironically, this means truth, but Stalin had close control over how the stories were presented, and he often manipulated them to make himself look better. The first thing about Squealer is that he's very persuasive. We are told that he's a brilliant talker who can turn black to white. We see this when Squealer justifies why the pigs should have privileges that the other animals don't. For example, eating the apples, drinking the milk. He tells the animals that they are brain workers and suggests that scientifically this is a requirement for their success. However, in reality, Squealer is taking advantage of the animals who aren't very intelligent and using facts to back up his point. He knows the other animals can't research these facts, and that's similar to what the Pravda was doing by conveying biased stories about Stalin to keep the communists on side, even when his actions betrayed the Communist Manifesto. Essentially, it's clear that language is power. Squealer uses purposeful vocabulary to intimidate and confuse the others. We see rhetorical questions, we see the use of jargon, we see statistics and complex words, and Orwell is using all of these language devices to show that language can be used to make us dependent on the speaker. The animals are incapable of actually finding out the truth for themselves, and they continue to rely and trust on Squealer, even though this is not the most sensible action. However, Squealer doesn't rely on words alone. He manipulates the emotions of the animals. We see this in the death of Boxer, where he conveys what we know would be a lie to make sure that the animals are on Napoleon's side, because the animals would have trusted Boxer and his opinion. Essentially, Squealer is a coward who doesn't deserve the power that he gains. This is clear as he begins to parade around the farm with the dogs by his side, but it's also clear in the Battle of the Cowshed, where he's unaccountably absent. Orwell contrasts his character with Boxer's. Squealer skips as he celebrates the victory, but he's not been harmed and he hasn't fought. On the other hand, Boxer has been injured and he doesn't understand the success. This is an example of how the oppressors succeed at the expense of the oppressed. This time, however, it wasn't man, it was pig. And by juxtaposing those characters, Orwell highlights the inequality in the farm. This is also reiterated by Squealer's changing appearance. As the novella goes forward, Squealer physically gains weight, with the weight representing the luxury that Squealer is benefiting from, while the others are suffering. Not to forget that Squealer is the one who is responsible for changing the 7 Commandments. By amending the rules, Orwell highlights how facts were altered to benefit Napoleon and the ruling classes, again showing that there is an inequality. In conclusion, Squealer essentially is an undeserving hypocrite, but he